Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater. Hey, it's another ogre this time. I'm actually very much coming to this point where I think I've settled on where I want to go with my next story. It's going to be different from that's the other. I'm making different versions of this character that I have in my mind. This is what I wanted to open up, which was the original Clip Studio file. And I think I want to do about this character, Joe the Ogre. I just really kind of like where it's going. And who knows, maybe it'll change again. But I do like where it's going. Um, I like the ideas that I have for the character. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I'm going to keep it to myself right now. But I do want to share the process with y'all because I want to share with y'all sort of the creative. This is pretty close to the creative process I've gone through in developing stories. It just feels a little bit like, well, Matt, are you gonna arrive at a settled decision here, or are you just gonna keep coming up with stuff, right? And I feel like I'm starting to settle into the groove of what I want to do here. And so I think for a while, these videos are going to be me finally settling on a final design idea for Joe. I don't know how long that's going to take. Hope y'all are willing and ready to come along for the ride. Come along on the ride with me. Because, who knows where it's going to go, right? But this is the ride. I had an interesting week last week. And for those of y'all on Patreon who get these videos as soon as I make them, that's part of the reason why I didn't release any videos last week. I had a lot on my mind, kind of going through a lot. Both good and bad. And, he has 4 fingers. I have to remember that. Not 5. And, it all sort of came to a boiling point for me when I went to go see a David Bowie documentary that came out recently called Moonage Daydream. The documentary is not very informative if you're looking for like a biography on David Bowie, which I wasn't looking for a biography. So it worked out great for me. I actually really loved it. It was, I might define it as a tone poem about David Bowie. It had like a lot of incredibly good footage. It was well put together. And it was kind of a fever dream, to be quite honest. I really enjoyed it. And one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed about it is that it really focused on David Bowie as an artist and what fed into sort of his creative formula, I guess is the best way of putting it. His manifesto on what it means to be an artist, to a certain extent. Although there are plenty of clips he's had on interviews and stuff where he's talked in other different ways that he didn't talk about in that documentary. But anyway, I came out of that documentary thinking to myself, alright, well, this is the path that I've set myself on. Excuse me real quick, I need a drink of water. Let's get that frog in my throat. Yeah, I liked it. Anyway, it was one of those few experiences where I stepped out of the movie theater and I just had sort of this almost religious moment. It sounds so cheesy to say it like that. But it really was for me. It was almost a religious moment. It was a moment where I was setting my entire, reevaluating my entire life and my life decisions, and making some commitments, stronger commitments to myself and what it is that I want to do, how I want to feel about life in general, because I want to enjoy my life, right? Everybody does. Everybody should. And part of me enjoying my life is reliant on me creating stuff and sharing it with people. And so far, I've done that all right. I think I've done an all right job of that. But I want to do it better. I want to learn how to do it better. And I want to learn how to do it in such a way that I can provide for myself, and in so doing also make better work, right? It's difficult because part of being an artist really is embracing a certain uncertainty in your life. Maybe it doesn't have to be uncertainty in your finances, right? But it can be uncertainty about, like, what is the finished piece going to look like, right? Because we often start with such a formulated vision in our mind, but that vision changes over time. And I think it can often be very difficult for a lot of artists to feel like they're too chaotic, like their vision changes too much. But I think that's part of the process. I think that's a necessary part of the process. And maybe I talk about this a little too much, because it is useful to talk about getting to a point where you're solidifying your vision, right? That is probably the most important part of what we call discipline, right? Being in a place where you say, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to make this happen. I'm ready to make this commitment to this idea, to see it manifest in the world. That is probably one of the most frightening things, right? So anyway, I'm starting to feel a certain amount of commitment to seeing this idea manifest in the world. And I like the direction it's going in. I like the ideas that are sort of bubbling along from it. And there are also ideas that are coming from everything that I started with at the beginning of this talk and draw, when I was doing all those characters that I was saying was going to be part of the Backroads, right? You just take the elements you've created and bring them along with you. And you reassess what they're going to be used for, reevaluate, etc., etc. Anyway, so that's why I'm doing all these different versions of Joe, because I want to figure out sort of what his deal is, what his style is, what's going to make him, right? And that's going to take a second. So I hope y'all like watching me make different versions of a drawing of an ogre. I think this is probably one of the most crucial steps in character design, is getting to a place where you can comfortably make different iterations of an idea, so that you get to a point where you're like, okay, what are the best iterations? Which ones am I going to keep, right? Which ones am I going to throw away? And you eventually solidify down to a final idea, and that's the one you stick with. And maybe you make little changes here and there as you go along. I did that with Jake in Trailer Park Warlock. And in an odd way, I kind of still make adjustments even when I'm in the middle of the story. And I think that's okay personally. I think that that should be part of a process. I'm also something I'm also doing is I'm becoming to begin I'm beginning to become more choosy in my interactions on social media, just in general. Maybe I'm being a little too guarded with my time, but you know, I love to interact with y'all, and certainly the best way that y'all can interact with me, by the way, is in the Mancers Union Discord, and that link should be available in the description for this post. If you cannot access the Mancers Union Discord, let me know, and I will get you a link. But that is becoming where I want to do most of my interaction nowadays. Another great way to interact with me is through Patreon. Check it out. That's where you can get these videos very, very early, and along with a lot of other cool things. And odds are good I will probably be publishing Joe's comic whenever I finally decide on what it's going to look like through Patreon. So anyway, like I said, a lot of conclusions I'm beginning to reach, a lot of ideas being formulated, and those ideas are always liable to change, and I think that on some level all ideas should be liable to change to some extent, right? There are, of course, exceptions to everything in life. So this is, I need to figure out what name I want to put around this particular iteration of Joe. I don't know, I like him though. Maybe call him Florida Joe. Or Miami Joe. I think Miami Joe probably works better. Because Florida's a big state, and there's a lot of different, like any state, right? There's a lot of different parts of it. Some are classier than others. Some are not classier than others, to the point of infamy. Same thing with Louisiana, where I live. New Orleans is a very different place from Lake Charles, which is a very different place from Baton Rouge, which is a very different place from Lafayette, which is a very different place from Shreveport. Not too many people like Shreveport for some reason. I thought it was okay. I don't know. I think what it is Shreveport starts to look a little bit more like Arkansas. And a lot of people don't like Arkansas. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I mean, I think I know what that's about, but I don't really. I've never really been to Arkansas. I can't really speak on it. I've been to Little Rock, but that was like a long time ago. I don't remember it super well. Arkansas in a lot of ways is sort of this fabled land, much like Florida. But I've been to Florida a fair amount. Been to its beaches. They're very nice. At least on the Atlantic side. I don't know. I can't imagine. Here's the thing, y'all. I'm about to talk about the Gulf of Mexico. The issue with the Gulf of Mexico, A, the waters are very warm all the time. B, whenever it's hurricane season, you don't really get clear blue waters. Not that often. It's often extremely muddy and occluded. It's not my favorite beaches. There's a beach from where I grew up in Lake Charles. There's a beach that's like 50 minutes away or so. called Holly Beach, and it's never I've never seen clear waters at that beach. I don't think that's a thing that happens for that beach. It's just the nature of that beast. Beast? Beast? Trying to combine the two words together, beach and beast. Don't know if it worked. But yeah, that's the nature of that, you know? Alright, he's coming along. And, another thing I'm going to be messing around with in these different character designs, I'm also going to be messing around with color palettes. Because I'm not sure if I want to do like a classical green. Maybe there's a color that works better, This is that experimentation phase. Mess around, see what happens. Have fun with it. And that's really the most important part, I think. Have fun with it, y'all. For those of y'all who are creative, creating, want to create, or just like to draw, have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, find something else to have fun with. Or find some new way to have fun with it, right? Something I've actually been doing the last week, and a practice I want to keep up, is that I am starting to get out like physical paper, like some Bristol board, because I have some random Bristol board just laying around. And I'll get out my Copic markers, and I'll just start doing these abstract sort of, they're not paintings, they're just like marker art. I don't know. It's abstract. It doesn't really look like anything. I don't know if there's really a point to it other than to make marks on paper and see what I can make it look like. Or not even that, just see what happens, And I guess it's like kind of an art therapy thing for me. I like it. I don't know why. It doesn't really... I'm never going to show any of those things that I'm making to people because it's too, like... Personal isn't really... I don't know. Maybe it is too personal. But regardless, my point is it's something I'm making just for myself, so that I can be engaged in the process. Hopefully, you're not getting tired of that word, but it's true. Art is a process. Art is about proceeding from one state to the other. Get in touch with your thoughts and feelings in a very rooted, personal way. As much as I like some of the career aspects of art as a career can take away a lot of the most beautiful aspects of making things, which is primarily expressing yourself totally, or as total as you can. Anyway. Alright. I'm going to go in here, erase. Cool. It looks pretty good, actually. Kind of surprised by how good it looks. Anyway. Let's save it. And I'm going to save this as Joe 2, because this is the second iteration of this Joe character. Oh, I already have it. Okay, alright, clip. We'll figure it out. One more time. Yeah, go in and save it. Yes, I want to replace it. Okay, anyway. Hey, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I'm hoping y'all are having a good day. Everything's going well with y'all. And if you had any thoughts about anything that I had to say within this video, please leave a comment in the section below. And I'm just looking at something, y'all. I will get back to y'all. I will respond as best I can. Anyway. Y'all have a good one. Okay? Bye.